everyone. I'm James Bevan, the Chief Revenue Officer at Solcoro, and this is one of our interviews in our new interview series. Today, I'm really excited. I've got a great guest on with us, someone who's been part of helping us shape Solcoro in the background. Joining me is Mr. Ron Miiller, former Regional Director at Softworks Inc., and the man who spent nearly 20 years at Commvault, with over 8 years as Senior Vice President of Worldwide Sales. And now we're super excited that he's also an advisor to Solcoro. So, Ron, fantastic to have you here. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, James. It's been fun watching this thing come together from behind the scenes, and now even more so as it's starting to get into the hands of people to utilize.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride getting here, and thank you for your input along the way. I kind of wanted to start our conversation a little bit about kind of scaling go to market and ops kind of platforms and blind spots it creates. So you've led sales and kind of go to market teams at companies that went through various different levels of growth. What were some of the kind of reoccurring challenges that you saw, not just in teams, but in the systems that were working behind them, basically?
Yeah, no kidding. One of the big things I saw was how quickly operational debt and complexity can creep in. You've
Uh,
got on one side high performing teams, but under the hood there can be chaos.
yeah.
What do I mean by that? Like misaligned workflows, data that nobody trusts.
Sure.
You end up with systems that unfortunately over that time of ramping the organization wind up being sort of built together by glue and baling wire. And the thing is, no one really sees these problems show up right away. They tend to reveal themselves when deals go sideways,
Yeah.
when forecasts, don't come in the way you thought they would,
Yeah.
when budgets are missed, or when you start to see, cross-functional infighting amongst teams.
Yeah, I can sadly say I've experienced all those various different things happening at some point or another. And it kind of ends up feeling like as the organization grows, sort of platform complexity and the way you're trying to use them to mash together where you're going is a bit of a tax you end up paying without ever sort of really realizing it?
Yeah, like exactly. By the time, it is visible, it's already, like impacting negatively your momentum. And as I said, creating morale issues. That's something that I guess in my experience can't be overlooked. When you have data that doesn't align and you get two internal organizations working against each other, you're no longer, working against the competitor, you're working against each other, and it just doesn't work successfully.
No, I completely agree. I completely agree. And if we kind of segue through that in terms of kind of those tools that get used in the background and talk a little bit specifically about Jira. Um, Jira is kind of everywhere, uh, but it's not really always understood by most execs. Kind of, do you have any opinion on why that might be the case?
Well, let me first start by saying I've been out of this game now for a little while. And when you first came to me, you and Robert, I had to do my research on what Jira actually was. Now that I understand it, I think in answer to your question, I would say this. I think it's often, looked at that way because it's viewed as, an operational tool rather than a strategic one. However, the reality is now when you've got engineering, product, sales, and even delivery teams operating on top of or within Jira, then the way the platform is set up does directly impact both speed, clarity, and even customer outcomes.
Mhm.
And the problem is, most leaders you assume it's fine unless it is absolutely and totally broken. They just sort of live with the consequences.
For sure. And that's often what you find about Jira as well, that usually it's never broken because it's genuinely a great tool. It just becomes this really messy, kind of over-engineered beast that just gets built up layer by layer by layer, and you end up not being able to see where you're going.
Yeah, very familiar with. complexity and layer upon layer for sure.
Yeah.
But listen, when you're in the trenches, that complexity isn't always visible at the surface level. That's why when you, Robert, came to me, I was excited by what Solcoro was going to potentially deliver because it makes things visible. And when things are visible, obviously you have a better opportunity to be able to fix those problems that are creating the issue in the first place.
Yeah, like I'm glad you said that as well, because that's ultimately everything that we created and what we were trying to achieve was sort of a really simple solution to highlight where your challenges were, so you can go and kind of fix it yourself. But yeah, so I kind of wanted to pivot a little bit and talk a touch on what Solcoro solves and how it's a little different.
Hmm.
Ron, you've pretty much had a front row seat over the last kind of 6 months to see our product take shape from initial idea concept into something that now we have as a beta that's kind of ongoing. Can I ask you what was it that stood out about Solcoro compared to some other tools and kind of operating platforms that you've come across in your time?
Yeah, I think all of us, as functional heads have dealt with issues like this. And I think the thing that I see in Socorro really, comes down to two things. I think number one, it gives, fast visibility and not just like a black box. There's no lengthy audit process, no long consultancy engagement to get the sort of answers you're looking for. And then I think even more importantly than that, is it doesn't, just flag issues. A lot of dashboards, simply flag that you've got issues. Well, it's sort of like the no kidding part. It's like, we know we have issues. So I think it's important that it doesn't just flag those issues. It, sort of gives you a roadmap and guides you on how best to solve those problems. So I think, that's what I saw in it. And then if you take a step back and you think about like, who's the constituency that matters and what does Socorro bring to them, I think it hits both sides of that equation really well. And what I mean by that, like if you're a Jira user, I
Mm.
think it helps you get clarity as to, what's going on in your systems and, what do you need to do to make it run more effectively. If you're a partner or a service provider, this is a tool that helps enhance your value proposition to your end client and doesn't stand in the way of you delivering value to them.
Yeah, and as the products evolve, we've started to kind of look at Solcoro a little bit to be like a kitchen in some respect, where we become the company who lays out a load of high quality ingredients for a chef then to decide what it is they're going to cook. And it doesn't matter who the chef is. In the two sides of the coin you just mentioned, you could be the user of Sol, or you could be a provider of services to those folks using Jira. We aren't the chef, those individuals are. And we're trying to just make it 10 times easier for any partners or internal teams to, I guess, cook a great meal in a nice way.
Terrific analogy, my friend.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that is part of the magic. You're not really prescribing the solution.
Yeah.
You're enabling the end user or the partner to make better decisions.
I think that's a great way of describing it, enabling teams to make better decisions. I actually really like it. So like I might steal that one if it's okay with you. But yeah,
I don't know. I think the chef analogy is very good, but
I
you're
appreciate
welcome.
it.
You're welcome to it, my friend.
I appreciate it. The next topic I wanted to sort of touch on was a little bit why become an advisor to Solcoro in the first place, because based on your career and the length of time you've been involved in the technology game, I know you get approached by a number of startups to provide advice, advisor services and consulting on that kind of growth strategy. What made you interested in or be willing to and want to advise Solcoro?
Well, I guess first and foremost, a lot of respect for Robert Brower, and then when he introduced me to you, I think we clicked well. And then I think the next step down in that process was getting visibility to what your vision was and buying in. But I guess Listen, then when those stars align, you have to think about what might I bring to the proposition that would help you guys. And what I would say to that is I spent most of my career trying to scale sales organizations. And time again, throughout those years, it wasn't just the team from time to time that might have needed fixing. It was the foundation that they were operating on, the very systems that we're talking about today and the ones that your team addresses. So when I saw Solcoro, I thought finally a tool that helps get the foundation right without making it yet the next or another sort of 6-month project.
Yeah, of course.
As a functional leader, whether it's sales, product engineering, et cetera, or marketing, we need to be able to focus on growing our business and not finding and fixing internal problems. More to that, I believed in the team, as I said, and I thought I felt like I could bring some things to the your value proposition, having gone through those trials and tribulations that me and my teams faced through those years. And if you could do it successfully, and I have faith in you that you're going to bring a lot of value to the market.
No, that's great, and it's kind of the position that you're talking about there in terms of something that's not another 6-month project. Kind of, I fully understand that kind of methodology, and we wanted to be able to bring something as a tool that would be really useful to teams to enable that streamline kind of process and things like that. So, you know, I completely am aligned with you on those bits and pieces, and it's awesome to hear you say that you trust in us as well. That's a very nice thing to hear. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
in terms of advice to kind of go to market leaders and those organizations looking to provide services, what would you say to a CRO or a VP of sale who suspects that maybe their platform tooling is kind of holding things back a little bit and being a bit challenging for them?
Yeah, I guess right off the cuff, I would say pipeline, 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 because when you've got those challenges, more pipeline does tend to help you solve those problems. And any team that or leader that worked for me knows that that's sort of my mantra is keep building pipe. But listen, every go-to-market leader wants and needs high quality pipeline. I would say using Solcaro to assess your customer or your prospect as part of a pre-sale environment will give you the additional insight and allow sales and solutions teams to build high quality solutions or proposals that immediately have a much higher level of purchasing intent after your prospect has seen the sort of insights that you're in a position to provide. Ultimately, Socorro's giving you a competitive edge. You walk into a client conversation and with a Socorro score and a clear diagnosis, you're already ahead in the trust battle versus your competition. It's not, let us come in and take a look at your environment. You're able to walk in and say, here's what's happening. Here's how you can go about resolving it. And I think that's important.
Yeah, and we've kind of chatted around a couple of different use cases during our conversation, but the revenue generation side of me kind of has a bit of a soft spot for the use case you're talking about here. In that, I think of myself in the situation of selling services, for example, and I think we can add some real value to that sales process because as a seller and as a customer, having people have sold SaaS to me before, it's really great to feel a process when it's kind of sharp and focused and you feel like it's being guided or controlled by that seller in a real valuable way, not just a, hey, can I just touch base for the sake of touching base, you know?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think we've both been down this path before, and I think when you're in front of a client or a prospect, trust is critical, and
For
you
sure.
build trust infinitely faster if you walk in with facts and a roadmap instead of begging them to let you take a look at their systems. Yeah, that part is necessary, but if you can bring back real tangible results, I think it says something, and it clearly separates you from most of your competitors that are coming in without that.
Yeah, I'm biased, but I completely agree in that respect. And
Yeah.
kind of to wrap up our conversation a little bit, at the moment, Solcoro is in our beta. We're getting some really good traction from our beta customers. We've had scans being run on all different sizes and all different levels of complexity of Jira Cloud instances. So we are kind of really stoked about how our beta is going at the
Yeah.
moment.
Very good. Very exciting time right now.
Yeah, and from my perspective, if if you're a user of Jira or you provide services to anyone involved in Jira, come along, drop me an email at james@solcoro.com. The beta currently runs until the end of September. We officially launch in October when we'll have a free trial available as well. So it's 100% worth a try, whether if you can sneak into our beta, I know someone that might be able to help get you into that. And in my humble opinion, we can add massive value along the process.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, just to follow on that, James, I'd say, to anybody who's listening to this, like if you're a Jira user or you're a service provider that sells to a client that utilizes Jira, then you should jump on board with Solcoro quickly because, there's always those sort of cutting edge technologies. This I see as one of them. And I think the earlier that you get on the bandwagon and become a focused partner with Solcoro, you're going to be in a great position to add value to your clients and ultimately build pipeline and revenue.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute privilege. Massively appreciate your insight. We're grateful to have you as an advisor to Solcoro. Yeah, I am excited to continue working with you as we evolve through our journey. So thank you very much.
Yeah, same here, James. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you guys so far and being inside the tent, so to speak. It's been a pleasure to be here with you this morning. And listen, I can't wait to see what comes next for Solcoro.
Thank you very much, man. And that ends our interview today. We will be back soon with the next installment of our interview series. Thank you very much,
All right.
everyone. Bye bye.